Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at a Game 6 here in Boston with the Celtics up 3-2 on those Miami Heat, hoping for maybe more points than roughly 80 or so from the Heat, but we still have an injured Jimmy Butler hobbled. We'll see what the status is for Tyler Hero as well. All questionable, a couple other guys as well from Miami. So we'll jump into some of the stuff that we do like in this one. Most of it probably has to do with the Celtics being successful, as we'll see. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page and continue to follow along with us for as many games as we have left in these NBA playoffs. Also want you to head to thelines.com as well as playpicks.com. Nate and team have their great articles up as well with that daily content for these NBA games, as well as the MLB regular season that continues to roll along as well. Also want you to head to play.thelines.com. That's where we have the opportunity for you guys to get a $25 Amazon gift card if you do get that NBA Daily Pick'em Challenge correct. All those picks correct, and we will get you that gift card. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for Game 6. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, Celtics go from opening around -1 in Game 5 to opening at -9 after that dominant second half performance. And you could say the line is correct now, but I think it's just a little more intricate than that, in that they were right in the game for once. It's just that they pull away at the end of these games, and we've seen it in each series so far. The longer the game seems to go, the better chance the Celtics seem to have because of their depth and their ball movement, which is like almost alien to the game of basketball, the NBA basketball brand these days, which is why I think we'd be so excited to see the Celtics and Warriors play and see ball movement revitalized on the NBA Finals stage. So let's just hope we get that. Let's hope they wrap up Game 6 here. I mean, I don't think there's any real question here, unless the Celtics do a bunch of stupid shit and turn it over a ton, or just literally can't hit the broadside of a barn. They should beat this hobbled Heat team because, yeah, Jimmy Butler, like you said, nowhere near healthy. Kyle Lowry not healthy, and between him and Max Strus, they have put together the worst performance by a starting backcourt in NBA playoff history over the last 2 games. I think you expect a little bit of positive regression there, but Strus, even if he's able to score a little bit, he's getting hunted on defense. Duncan Robinson has been his replacement, also hunted on defense, picked up, I think, 3 fouls almost immediately, trying to stop Jalen and Jason from getting to the rim. And I mentioned that pull away down the stretch. In the second half, the Heat had 38 points. Tatum and Brown had 37 points. The Heat had 5 assists and 4 turnovers. They shot 3 for 24 from 3. And this all happened at home. It's just so demoralizing. I don't know what to make of, I'm going to talk about Heat culture now and what to make of their ability to fight down to the last man here. They are not the Philadelphia 76ers, I will say that. But at the same time, there is a certain resignation about this group with their leader, walking around there with a knee that needs to be drained of fluid every 5 minutes, and being unable to kind of exert his will on this game. And then I don't know if Jimmy was at full strength, they could deal with the Celtics team at close to full strength, because as soon as you put Rob Williams out there and Bam was no longer able to have his way in the paint, as soon as the Celtics are winning both the battle in the paint and getting superior shot quality with their ball movement, I don't see how Miami has an edge anywhere. They have defenders you can hunt all over the place. Celtics have none. They have poor outside shooting aside from a couple specialists, and the Celtics have very good balanced shooting. And now you go back home. It's just a question of, people were trying to call the 3-point positive regression game for the Celtics in the last game. I think maybe we get it here. There's not really a market to bet on the amount of team 3-pointers, but they are hitting 14 or 15 at home in these playoffs. I think we will see a barrage of threes, so maybe you want to look at some player props individually for that. I just think, it's time to bet the Celtics, live bet them. Like I said, they're an excellent third quarter team, and that's when they pulled away in this last game. So if it is close, you can live bet them there. I think maybe I can't bring myself to bet the over in the series, though, because Miami has scored 80 points in back-to-back games. So I really don't know where to land other than the money line with the Celtics and some player props in terms of which guys are gonna fill it up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got to be honest. First of all, we're recording this on Thursday night, and so to me, I think we don't know. We really don't actually genuinely don't know who's going to play for the Heat. I do think you expect all four of those questionable guys in terms of Lowry, Tucker, Hero, and Jimmy. Like, you expect three of them to play, at least half of them. But either way, what Jimmy are we getting? You know, I asked you before we started this video if Jimmy, there's a possibility that Jimmy's healthy in this game. And you're like, I guess if there's the most miraculous 1 day, recovery from a legit, knee injury that needs to be drained of fluid in the middle of games, right? Like it did 2 games ago when he came on the first half in game 4. I don't know what you have to base what you're going to bet, how you're going to bet this game, specifically this game, which I think you think the Celtics are going to win no matter what. But really the question is Rob Will playing as well on the other side, and who's playing for those other guys? And I really think Rob Will is a guy and Time Lord there for the C's that you got to consider really, really important, especially in this series, especially the way that he guards Bam. And when you look at the amount of minutes that Rob Williams is able to play in this series and the games that Bam Adebayo played well, it was the games that Rob Williams either wasn't playing or he was playing very low minutes, such as when Bam went off for 31 in that game 3. But, you want to feel like there are certain guys on the Heat that are going to step up and be able to just, make up for the absence of Jimmy, and really not just the absence of Jimmy, but if he's playing, it's really the absence of his ability to break guys down. And that's what this whole offense is predicated on. It's having 2 guys that can break down an offense with the dribble, whether it's, from the wing down into the post, or even both of them having matchup opportunities to go all the way out from the wing and on the 3-point line and then work their way down, because both of those guys are skilled enough to do that. But Bam is also looking to pass. And without, the threat of a guy like Jimmy in there who can score on his own, but is also thusly needs to be double teamed. Bam doesn't need to be double teamed. He can get his 10, 15, 18, 20 points. That's not going to worry them at all. And really, he's not going to be able to just waltz in and get those if Rob Williams is playing. So if Rob Williams is at, a good enough strength to get 25 to 30 minutes in this game, then the Heat have less than no shot, in my opinion. The fact that Jimmy Butler is still sort of what he is right now, and you look at, the splits for these playoffs for the Heat in terms of what he does when they win versus what he does when they lose. And it's a pretty stark contrast. He's averaging about 5 more points a game in their wins versus when they lose. In those losses, he is getting a few more minutes, obviously, because he's really they're trying to force him, to the win. He's really their only offensive option. But it shows not only, in terms of what his points in the wins, it's also his assists, because that's what their entire offense is predicated around. As I said, Max Strus, even Tyler Hero to a degree, who's also injured. All these guys these shooters, even Duncan Robinson, they're all as good as, the guys who are passing the ball to them. Essentially, they're all coming off of screens. They're not breaking any defenses down. You saw what happened in the last game there, game 5, where, for the most part, their offense became either Duncan Robinson or Max Strus. And that's the play call that they're going for, because they don't really have much else to go with when they don't have Jimmy Butler to break guys down off of the, off the dribble like that. I do like unders for him. I don't know what to do with that total. As I was saying, how I want to bet this game and it being dependent on who's available for both these sides. If we don't see Jimmy Butler, or honestly, he's not even someone I'm really talking about at this point. It's really about Robert Williams. And if he's in, then I feel fine about -8.5. I think that's the main sort of contingency that I'm looking at here is, does Robert Williams play? And then I don't mind picking the Celtics at home in a blowout. The Heat in these playoffs are averaging less than 100 points a game on the road. And that includes having, Jimmy Butler for most, if not, or except for one of those road games that he missed against Atlanta. So, that's not really relevant anymore. Kyle Lowry is clearly not the same guy, whether he's still injured or he's just, turning that corner in terms of age and how late he can play into a season and actually be effective. You mentioned that he and Strus combining for that sort of 1 for 28 or so from the field. So there's not much to believe in. It's just a matter of how much do you think the Celtics are going to win by. So if you want to take the Celtics, I also like their team total at 105.5. I don't think that the Heat on on the road are the same team as well on defense. They're good wherever they are, but who's even available for them that you feel good about as a defensive player right now? It's a lot of Victor Oladipo as trying to step in and be, the Jimmy Butler type who can score from the wing and break guys down on his own, but he's not a playmaker by any means. And that's once again what this entire offense is predicated on. So I don't know if the Heat are going to score the 95 or so points that their total is in this one. But I do feel good about the C's getting over 105. And like I said, if Robert Williams is playing, I'm not even really scared of a 9-point spread right now.
Yeah, I think the Celtics offense is due for some positive regression. I mean, just some carryover, if you will, after the second half there. And the way that first half was just an absolute rock fight. But I did find a way here on FanDuel to just bet that third quarter, the C's to win the third quarter by 3 points is even money, -2.5. I mean, that would be what I go with there as like, when do they make their run? I wouldn't bet the fourth quarter because Miami's been coming back in garbage time here. I'm still not too keen on a 9-point spread, but it is a closeout game in the Garden, and we saw Game 7 against the Bucks. It just got out of hand in a hurry. The Bucks are a far more formidable foe right now than this Heat team in terms of how you want to scheme, because there's nobody tipping the floor. I mean, you said Jimmy Butler breaking guys down off the dribble. That's not even his game really anyway, is it? I mean, it's just kind of like a little bit of bully ball, a little bit of slashing, cutting, and finishing. I mean,
it's drawing attention, at least, right? It's needing at least to have more than one set of eyes on him. There's nobody else that you look at and you go, the guy guarding him for the Celtics can't handle him one-on-one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At the very least, it's an even matchup across the board, if not favor the defender for the Celtics. At least with Jimmy Butler, if you do have him on the floor, you have another set of eyes on him.
Yeah, what you mentioned about the Heat getting all their opportunities off these split actions or pin down screens to get those shooters free. The Celtics started sniffing that out in the second half of Game 3 and started shutting it down. And that was with Butler, when Butler got hurt too, right? And since then, basically, I don't know what Miami's shooting exactly, but it's about 20% from three. And it's definitely under like 35% from the field. And so, I mean, rather than taking a Celtics over, I would rather take a Heat under at this point. I think that there's less chance of them suddenly coming along in a shootout. I think Miami's only chance to be competitive in this game is Boston just missing a ton of threes or turning it over, maybe sparking a little bit of offense for them, but they just can't score in the half court, like whatsoever. When Rob Williams is out there, he just changes everything, and they can't get anything done. So yeah, 96.5 at FanDuel, a little bit better than what you get at DraftKings. I think I'd take the under there for the Heat. And then,
yeah, if you want to go, if you want to go the under, yeah, right. The FanDuel is the better option there. Give you a little bit more wiggle room to get under, the 97 points for the Heat. But I'm going to stick to my guns just from the standpoint of feeling good about their ability to score. I do think that the inconsistency that you continue to see from Jason Tatum back and forth, 20 points. 31 points, 40 points, having a half where he scores six points, right? And this series, though, to me, once again, I think you're seeing a bit of the defense breaking down for the Heat, because this is the team. It was always going to be a bad matchup. It was the Celtics or the Bucks for this team. Those were the two best and most physical teams left to take on the Heat and really actually do what they do better than they can. Especially once again, if you don't have Jimmy Butler, I've been talking about what he brings on offense, but what he's also brings on defense and what he's not able to with that hobbling knee. Not that he's going to shut down who he's guarding, but at the very least, if you put him on Tatum and he takes that matchup personally, now you feel good about being able to shut him down. Without that, you still got to have more than one set of eyes on Jason Tatum, if not bringing that double team. And Jaylen Brown continues, I think, to reap that, and is someone that you should continue to feel good about as being able to break down whoever's guarding him at this point as well. Especially if it is going to be a guy like PJ Tucker, as he's kind of switching on back and forth on both of them. But really, I'm fine with taking their offense in this game. I think they're going to continue to play really well on defense, no matter what. Especially once again, if Robert Robert Williams is in there. And the way these players are going, man, just like let's listen to what they're telling us every game, which is it's going to be double digits apparently no matter what. And you can feel good about the Celtics pulling away at least with the money line if you can find some way to get some juice off that. But once again, I'm as soon as I see Robert Williams in the lineup and expected to play solid minutes, book it. So. That is all the time we have for this one. Maybe the last Eastern Conference Finals game of this season. As we're recording this, we did just watch those Dubs make their way into the finals against the Mavs in 5 games. So we'll see if they are going to be taking on the Celtics or if we'll have a game 7. And until we see you next, happy betting.